Hey guys, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the eTrailer Class 3 trailer hitch receiver here on our 2017 Cadillac XT5. One of the nice things about the eTrailer hitches is that they all come with a nice matte black powder coat finish, and what that does is it kind of blends in a little bit better with the fascias that aren't as shiny, which typically most of them aren't going to be real glossy. They'll have that kind of matte black to them, and then also it's not going to show as much scratches. So obviously over time, rocks kick up, debris on the road can kind of scratch up against your trailer hitch receiver, or even just general use from you putting your hitch pin in or whatever, cargo carrier, bike rack, your ball mount, any of that can end up scratching the receiver. And those matte black receivers are going to offer a whole lot better of a look because it's not going to show all of that scratches like a nice glossy one typically would. A few measurements that are pretty important to go along with this is just our ride height here. So from the top of the inside of our trailer hitch receiver to the ground is right at 18.5 inches. And that's really important so that you know how much clearance you have, and also you can take that along with any kind of adapter that you might need for that trailer. Now also, if you were putting a bike rack or a cargo carrier on here, you're going to want to know just how big of a shank that you're going to need. So from the center of our hitch pin hole out to the furthest part of our fascia, it's right around 5.5 inches. So you're going to need to make sure that the shank is long enough to accommodate the fascia here, or if you had any kind of tilting bike rack, or if you had a cargo carrier that tilted up, you need to make sure that that's not going to end up smacking against your fascia. So this hitch does have a 5,000 pound towing capacity and a 750 pound tongue weight capacity. Now that doesn't mean that you can solely go off of those ratings, because the vehicle itself is going to have a tow capacity and a tongue weight capacity depending on a couple of different factors inside of the vehicle itself. So you'll want to make sure that you refer to your owner's manual and go with whichever rating is lowest. As far as installation goes, this shouldn't take you more than a half hour. It's super simple to do. You don't have to drop the exhaust at all. You can easily put it up. I just recommend having a second set of hands because these hitches are pretty heavy when you're trying to get it in place and get the nuts on the bolts. To start off our installation, we're going to have to first remove this access panel right here, because this is where our hitch is going to be sitting. So we'll just take a 7mm socket. We're going to get these two screws, and then we can pull out our panel. Our next step is going to be getting our hardware ready to go. We're going to have a fish wire, a bolt, and a spacer block. We're going to go ahead and just kind of thread our bolt into our fish wire. And then we can take our spacer block here and just slip that through as well. And if you look up at your frame, there's going to be a few holes here. We're going to have a bolt coming through each of these smaller holes, and then we have this access hole so we can actually get the bolt up into place. So we're going to go ahead and we'll take the end of our fish wire and we're going to try and get it to this back. One thing I've kind of noticed is if you kind of just kink the end of it back, it makes it a little bit easier when you push it in to kind of hook onto the lip there. And then you don't have to try and fight grabbing it as bad. But it is a little bit of a process on some of these frames. All right, now we got our fish wire poked through, we can go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and separate the block from our bolt and sneak that through the hole first. This makes it a little bit easier. Then we can pull our bolt back up in there and just slowly pull it through. And we'll leave that there, and then we're going to get our other holes on this side and on our passenger side. Now with the second set of hands, we're going to go ahead and put our fish wires in with the corresponding holes on our hitch, and we'll lift that up into place. As we lift it up, you can kind of pull down on those fish wires a little bit more, try and get the bolts lined up. And once they're up in place, we can go ahead and start pulling out our fish wire and throw on a lock nut. And then we'll go ahead and just keep repeating this process with each bolt. Last thing that we need to do is simply just torque down our bolts. The setting that you'll need to put it to is listed right in your instructions. All good. We'll just go ahead and make sure you get all 6 bolts, and you might want to go back and just kind of check them after hitting each one just to make sure that they all stayed tight. Now with all of our bolts properly torqued down, we can go ahead and put back our access panel until we need to use our hitch. So all you have to do is just slap that back into place and then reinsert those 2 screws with your 7mm socket. And that will do it for our installation today of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver here on our 2017 Cadillac XT5.